Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha with Ice Cream Fitness here, and once again it is time for Gear Talk with Jason, as I got enough questions from the Monday Q&As for tomorrow to do a Gear Talk. I'm going to go ahead and do one for you guys. But hold on, let me give you guys a bicep shot first. Alright, before I get into these questions, one of the things that frustrates me to no end are the sheer number of cycle and PCT questions I get, because I've made it perfectly clear that I do not believe in cycling. I do not believe in PCT, and I've done a video breaking down the basics because it is the current party line for casual recreational steroid users. I personally feel that casual recreational steroid users should stay fucking natural. So keep that in mind when you're asking me these questions. It's basically you guys are asking me questions about something I don't believe in that I think is bullshit. Now, I can still always give you guys the standard party lines on it, and I'm regurgitating information for that. But I think that if you go on, you should expect to stay on the rest of your life. I see gear use, and this is something that Marc Lobliner and I talk about in private a bit, because we will talk about this on YouTube. We both get these questions. We both kind of agree on this, that gear use is for people with very serious goals. We don't really see it as something for someone who just wants to look good at the beach. It's just for people who are either fitness models, bodybuilders, serious athletes, or people with just extreme goals that are unobtainable naturally for that person and their genetics. They are for people who've pushed their bodies and their performance to a certain level, and they have their training perfect, they have their nutrition perfect, and they want to take it to the next level. And I can tell you right now, if you guys think that you're going to do a bunch of gear and then come off of it and you're not going to suffer worse negatives coming off than if you just stayed on a small amount in between and blasted and cruised, you're in for a rude fucking awakening. Because coming off is not fun. And I've already had one of my subscribers who has talked to me about this and said that he wanted to kill himself. He did his first cycle, and he thinks that I should warn you guys about the depression and everything that happens when you come off. That is what makes gear dangerous, is the coming off. It's not the being on. This stuff has never killed anybody. We don't have documented cases of anabolics actually killing people, or even conclusive proof that they shorten life. But coming off will make you kill yourself. You will lose your gains. I mean, you're going to have problems. That's why you need these PCT drugs. It's because of the after effects of coming off and having suppressed HTPA. It's not a joke. This is what makes them dangerous, is the cycling. And accordingly, if you think that you're going to go on a bunch of gear and you're going to come off and you're going to use exogenous hormones to push yourself to the next level and you're going to keep all of those gains, you're in a dream world. And if you think you're going to make gains in between, if you make any gains whatsoever between your cycles, then you started the gear way too early, or you still didn't know how to train or eat or anything else when you did that cycle. Because if you did and you made the most out of it and you had built a foundation, there is absolutely no way you're making progress in between, because you have pushed yourself within one cycle. You will have pushed yourself beyond the limits of your body and its normal capabilities. And so you will lose some of it, and you will not make progress till you go back on again. And if you do, then you used it way too early. You're probably tiny, you're probably weak, you're probably still very far below your potential. So this idea of doing this is something I don't really agree with, and I want to make that clear. I see this as a very serious commitment for very serious athletes and people with very serious goals. I do not respect recreational use. I do not respect people who use it as a shortcut to get to their natural limit and cut off. To me, that's a game. That's laziness. That's bullshit. I have no use for that. That's weakness. That is mental weakness. And I hate weakness with a passion, all types of it. I don't respect that. And that's why also Marc Lobliner said the same thing. He tells the guys, if you're not going to be a professional athlete, stay off the gear until your normal production shuts down and you need TRT, and then go ahead and do whatever you want and blast and cruise and do whatever you want, because the biggest concern, the permanent shutdown, is gone. You're free to do what you want. And that's why he says that, for the same reason, because we both realize how this works. If you have serious goals, you don't come off anyways. And all of your favorite athletes, a lot of your favorite natural bodybuilders and natural fitness models are on gear 365. They're on every day. And that's just the way it works. I wanted to get that out of the way because I really want some of these PCT questions to stop, because you guys need to understand that I am anti-cycling, I am anti-PCT. I've just tried to give you guys the advice that you can read on forums on the same topic. I personally don't do it. I did 3 cycles early in it, and I realized it was bullshit to cycle, and I stayed on for 3.5 years. It didn't come off, and I was a serious bodybuilder. I never came off after that, and my health and life were better for it. That aside, I'm sorry for that really long rant. Let's jump into these questions. First question, what do you think about local injections, not site enhancement oils, with the intention of fascious enlargement? I think it's BS. As someone who has messed a bit with site injections in the past, I think they are temporary swelling. I think they are oil that gets encapsulated for a bit, and then it dissipates. It is not permanent growth. It doesn't stretch the fascia in any way that's going to help you grow. It is temporary swelling. And it doesn't even last anywhere near as long as using site enhancement oil. So in all honesty, I'm not really a fan of it. I think in some ways it's a waste of your gear because you get less into the bloodstream. There is research and data on that. I don't recommend it for the most part. All right, next question. Now that you live in the UK, how would you go about getting your blood work done pre-on cycle and pre-PCT? Is walking into doctors and telling them the real reasons will only get you a lecture. I personally have a TRT script, so for me, that's not really a big deal to go in on that and get blood work. However, what I would recommend if you are blasting, just use a private lab. There are plenty of private labs that for about 50 pounds, 60 pounds, and I'm not going to tell you where to get them. Just use Google. You can find this stuff yourself, that will do private blood work so that you can monitor all this stuff yourself. You can mail it in and have your results back in a week or two. It's not particularly expensive in the modern world to get private blood work done through a lab. All right, next question. Nandrolone, DECA, and its so-called related major heart issues. Are they true or false? And this guy linked a study in the Q&A thread on the Facebook page below this question if you guys want to see it. Honestly, I really don't know. This data to me is inconclusive. I think it's hard to extrapolate from a very limited single study to say that nandrolone is going to cause this issue. I really can't say, other than the fact that plenty of guys who use nandrolone for 20 plus years are still walking around at 60 and 70 in better health and in better shape than the general populace. Now, is this to say that maybe their bodybuilding lifestyle and their training for 50 years didn't offset it enough so that they're healthier than the average Joe, and they might be even healthier had they not done the gear? I can't say for certainty, but I don't really see among heavy previous nandrolone users and just general long-term users when they're in their 60s and 70s, they seem to be healthier with a lower rate of early death than the general population. So it's really hard to say that there's a real risk here based off of a single study. I would personally like to do more research into it and look at the data closer and maybe see if they do a few more studies before I say that this is a real problem. Because this problem is never manifested in the real world. We just don't see early deaths among heavy steroid abusing bodybuilders from previous eras once they get into old age, and a lot of them still stay on and look fabulous and are the pinnacle of health in their 70s. They have better physiques and health than most 20-year-olds still. So, and I don't see them dropping dead of cardiovascular disease. So on that one, I really can't say. I think we need further studies before we can make this sort of sweeping statement. All right, next question. Best gyno reversal prevention protocol for progesterone and estrogen-related gyno. First of all, progesterone cannot give you gyno on its own. It can sensitize the estrogen receptors. It can cause some swelling, and it elevates prolactin, some lactation of the breast tissue. But you can use anti-prolactin meds for this, but it doesn't directly cause gyno. It requires the estrogen receptor to be active to do that. Even though it increases the sensitivity of it, low estrogen levels, you will not get gyno. So what you need to focus on is maintaining a healthy estrogen level using aromatase inhibitors. And you guys need to research yourself on forums and other places how to dose these things, how to watch for signs of high estrogen or too low of estrogen. Because if it goes too low, it will hurt your gains. It will hurt your health and can even lead to erectile dysfunction. So you don't want to just mass dose antiestrogens and aromatase inhibitors if you do not need them, because they are worse for you than the actual steroids are. And people forget that with some of these ancillaries. But so that's, you need to just control your estrogen, and there's lots of easily available data on that from a simple Google search. Now, as far as removal of gyno, I personally feel, and I've used this myself in the past, that letrozole plus Nolvadex seems to knock it out really good. I have found that running 2.5 milligrams of pharmaceutical grade letrozole, if you're trusting underground labs for your gyno removal, you're wasting your time. Spend the extra money on legit pharma stuff for this, because it's still a lot cheaper than getting plastic surgery. But 2.5 milligrams of letrozole every day for about 2 weeks, and then cut it down to 1.25 milligrams after that. Run it for about a month or longer if the gland isn't reducing in size, and combine that with 20 milligrams of Nolvadex a day. And I find that combination, for me, I've used it twice in the past, and it completely removed any visible or any signs, nothing I could feel, no gland that was actually there to the touch. It completely removed it for me twice in the past. Okay, next question. How long will it take for hormone levels to return to baseline after a cycle? Kind of a tricky question, because the answer is it could happen within 2 weeks, or it could happen never. And so that goes back to the other thing I was saying earlier of, when you go on, you're taking the risk of permanent shutdown no matter what you do. So there's always a chance when you go on that you will never return to normal. So there is no average. But if everything goes right on a proper PCT, you're not going to know when your normal levels return to normal till after the PCT is over, because PCT artificially elevates your production above normal levels. You should have superlogical levels when you're on PCT, if you're doing it correctly. And then when you come off of that, usually most PCT protocols are about a month, you should be back to normal at the end of that, once you come off all of that stuff. And if you aren't, then you may not ever return to normal. All right, next question. Provided macros are on check, training on check, which cutting cycle would you prefer and why? Test plus Winnie or test plus VAR? Thank you. Well, that's an easy one for me. I hate Winstrol. I think it's a crap drug. I would never advise anybody to use it. As I pointed out in my other video on anabolics and connective tissue health, it's dangerous to your joints. It is one of the most toxic anabolics ever invented to your liver, to your lipid profile, and it's all around just a crap drug. It makes you feel bad, it makes your joints hurt, and it can damage your connective tissue. So for me, this is no contest when Anavar is actually a pretty good compound. It's a lower side effect, much easier on your health, and you get better gains on it. The test Anavar wins hands down. I would never even recommend that anybody use Winstrol. I don't advocate its use. I think it's crap. All right, last question. I've read that some orals don't have any effect on liver and they're very easy to break down. Is it true? Yeah, this is absolutely true. As far as easily available ones, the easiest one on the liver is Anavar. Some people will get no elevated liver enzymes on Anavar. I've known guys who've done it for 3 or 4 months straight, and their cholesterol went to crap running an oral that long, but their liver enzymes stayed perfectly normal. And then andriol has never been found under any conditions by scientists to ever elevate liver enzymes. And andriol is probably one of the mildest compounds. It's amazing for tested athletes. I've done a video covering that because it clears your system within 24 hours for a drug test. So you can just stop taking it the night before and walk in and pass your drug test tomorrow. So a lot of tested athletes love it, but it's expensive, and it is 100% non-toxic. It doesn't have any negative effects on your lipid profile or your liver enzymes, anything. All right, guys, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you next time.